Well, welcome to the channel. Of course, I'm Dr. Samuel Jones, and I am excited today to talk to you about why your seed is in your need. You're right. So many times we go through life and we focus on the things that we don't have, and we don't take stock of what we do have, and more importantly, what we can or could be doing with what we currently have. I don't know if you looked at the previous videos, but what I've been focused on the story of Ruth and Naomi. Now, if you've looked at the previous videos, you'll know I've been telling the whole story about Ruth and Naomi. They come back to Naomi's home country, and Naomi lost her husband. She lost 2 sons. She lost one of her daughter-in-laws. One of her daughter-in-laws went back to her home country. And then, of course, if you look at Ruth, Ruth lost her husband, Ruth lost her sister, Ruth lost her brother-in-law, Ruth lost her father-in-law, right? But now here they are, they're back in Bethlehem, and Ruth made a commitment to her mother-in-law, told her that I'm going to take care of you, I'm committed to you till death do us part, in so many words. And now Ruth is actually in the field gleaning and working. And Boaz has seen her, he knows about her, the reputation of her, and everything is in alignment. And you know what? Sometimes in our life, just like Ruth's story, everything is in alignment, but we find ourselves in a great need. And we're just focused on what I need, 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 what I need. And we don't take stock to look at what we already have and to recognize that even we have some needs, there are some seeds within our needs. So what I'm going to do for you today, I'm going to give you 10 leadership qualities that I identified from the gleaning process. Now, what is the gleaning process? Now, it's not the process where they had tractors and they had all these fancy machines to go out here and cut the crops and separate the wheat from the chaff, right? We're not talking about that kind of machine. We're talking about you getting out there with your hands, and you getting out there with a bag, and you're walking these long rows. And the story was talking about her, she was gleaning corn. She was gleaning ears of corn. So she was picking the corn, she was shucking the corn. I mean, she was doing it all. And she had a great need while she was doing it all. But I want to highlight the seeds that were in her needs. Because again, just like us, if we stay committed to our process of working hard and focus on the things that we can control rather than the things that we can't control, oh my goodness, we'll be just like Ruth, where we'll be taken care of and we'll make all the connections. We'll do everything that we need to do. And more importantly, we'll have exactly what we need to have because we already have it. So let's talk about it real quick. So 10 leadership qualities that I've identified from the gleaning process. Quality number 1, resourcefulness. You know what? Gleaners, they help us to recognize that, you know what? We already have what we need. And sometimes it's leftovers, because that's what the gleaners were doing, right? You had the reapers going before you, and Ruth was behind the reapers. The reapers were these people who were, you know what, we're taking care of, we're clearing the field, we're clearing the field, we're clearing the field. But also in those times, when you own farmland, they left the corners of the field for those who were poor, who were in need. And so if you're going to be a gleaner during that time, you can't just get out there and just go get what you want. You had to step back and let the reapers go first. And more importantly, now after they go, now it's up to you to go out there. You see, we have to learn how to be resourceful. Sometimes when we're focused on our needs, it's like, man, I don't have this, and I don't have that, and I need this, and I need that. Well, we need to learn how to be resourceful. Use what you already have. And that's what Ruth was showing me. I'm going to use exactly what I have. So number 1 is to be resourceful. Number 2, you have to take initiative. And I'm talking about be very, very proactive. You know, what does it seem like if you're sitting somewhere and you have a great need and you're sitting around and you're waiting for somebody to come by to help you. Oh my goodness. That doesn't seem motivating, does it? I mean, if you have great needs, take the initiative to go and do something. And even whatever you go do, you fail. But guess what? That failure is feedback because you can do something different the next time. But if you never get out there and take the initiative and do anything, you're going to be stuck like everybody else who is sitting on the sidelines talking about what they don't have. Gleaners, I'm telling you, your seed is in your need. Your need is telling you, go out there and do something. Take the initiative. And that's one of the things that my grandmother always told me. She said, young man, go and do something. And even if you fail at doing something, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something that you didn't know before. So number 2, take the initiative. Number 3, persistence. Gleaning requires perseverance. I mean, guess what? Every field that you go to is not always going to yield the same thing. What does that mean? You got to be committed. You got to be persistent. You got to keep going at it every single day, every season. You know why? Because the crops, they're going to produce some. And sometimes they're going to produce more, and sometimes they're going to produce less. But it doesn't really matter. You and I just need to make sure that we're in the field to do there and be consistent, be persistent with our actions, and stay focused on what we said that we want. All right? Number 3. Number 4, gleaning serves as empathy. Guess what? Sometimes we're the less fortunate. Think about that. We're talking about, we're going to help the less fortunate. Did you know that sometimes you're the less fortunate? And do you have empathy for yourself? Are you willing to go above and beyond and just sometimes go without certain things? Empathy is not about feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is about just understanding. I know where you're at. I know where you're going through. And can we do that for ourselves sometimes? Sometimes we're just so stuck and focused on ourselves. But do we ever take time to take stock, to look around and see what other people are experiencing? And understanding that, wow, I don't have nothing to complain about. I have everything that I need. I'm in my health and strength. I have access to capital. I have access to friends. I have access to resources. Oh my goodness, I have a good life. But do we take stock time to think about those people who don't have what we have and who are challenged and who are struggling? You see, in these times, if you own farmland, that's what you did. You were always thinking about those people who were in need. And that's what Boaz did. Boaz his field was producing so much. But you know what Boaz did? He left some on the edges for those who were in need. And I'm telling you, if you have great needs, your seeds are in your great needs because there are some people around you who have greater needs than you have. Will you be willing to leave some on the edge for someone else? Okay? So it's important for us to have that empathy for people. Number 5. Number 5 is vision. Vision. Are you able to see opportunities where other people see obstacles? Are you able to not see problems, but rather you see purpose? You see, I love it when the scripture says, without a vision, people perish. And that is true to this day. If you're going to do great work, right, you have to have a vision. And vision is not for just now and not for just this moment. It's for down the road. And that's so very, very important. And so you have to be able to have a vision, not just for yourself, but have a vision for the people that you serve. Have a vision for your organization. Have a vision for your family. Even have a vision for your friends. So that gets me so excited. So number 5 is vision. Number 6, adaptability. When you're gleaning, conditions always can change. And so since conditions always change, as a leader and as a gleaner, I need to be ready to change. You know, if you have great needs and you don't want to change, oh my goodness, what is that saying about us as people? If I have a great need and this situation over here, or someone shows up to help me and they say, well, the only way we're going to help you is if you take 5 steps this way. Now, I understand if the 5 steps they want you to take you are putting you in danger, they're unethical, right? They're making you break the law. No, we're not going to do that. But if the 5 steps they're asking you to do is not violating one of those things, then why not take the 5 steps? Remember, you have a great need. And sometimes, and I have to work on myself with this, sometimes I want things more for people than sometimes they want for themselves. But I'm telling you, your seeds are in your needs. So we have to be adaptable. Number seven, collaboration. Collaboration. Did you know the gleaning process? It's a community effort. You don't get out there and you do it on your own. It makes me think about when I was in the Mississippi Delta as a teenager. And one of the things that I did as my summer job when I was probably 13 or 14 years old, I chopped cotton. Now, for those of you who are not from the South, chopping cotton is not actually out there with a hoe and chopping cotton. But chopping cotton means to chop the weeds out the cotton, right? And I can remember there were some days, it was some hot days in these long rows, and we went out as a community. I mean, we're talking 15 of us. And I'll never forget when you finish your row, you would let everyone come down and finish their row, and then you would start on the next few rows going back the other way. Don't you know, it was easier because it was a community out there chopping cotton. But can you imagine one person in a whole field chopping the field by themselves? Oh my goodness, that would be horrible. So gleaning, you have that. One of the things that I get from Ruth in this whole process is that she was part of the community, and the community embraced her. The community accepted her. And I'm telling you, the community appreciated her because they heard about her and they saw her diligence. They saw her hard work. And don't you know that when you go to your field and you begin to be collaborative with people, and you work with people and you learn from people and you teach people and you share ideas and you receive the ideas of other people, oh my goodness, it's going to make a difference. Okay, it's going to make a difference. Number eight, the gleaning process reminds me of a sustainability mindset, right? So when you focus on gleaning, you're going to have a sustainability mindset. What is that? It's making use of what otherwise go to waste. Right? So you're not going to be wasteful. You're going to take what you have, you're going to use what you have, and then you're going to save what you have, and then you're going to figure out how can you use it, and you're going to figure out how can you help somebody else with it, right? So you're going to keep this thing going. That's one of the things that I learned about this, and I'm telling you, Ruth was on it. I mean, she recognized that it was not just about her hard work and her dedication. It was about her humility, and it was about her connecting with people. And then it was also about her connecting with Boaz, because Boaz saw some interest in her and she was willing to be submitted to him. And oh my goodness, this whole process, how are you going to have a sustainability mindset with your needs, right? Because your needs are just telling you, hey, there are some seeds in me, but I want you to see them. I don't want you to look at your needs and say, oh, I need that, and I wish I had that, and I don't have that. Oh, what am I going to do? And I don't know what to do. And sometimes that's what people do. I want to encourage you from this video right here today. Think about whatever needs you may have in your life and apply these principles to your needs. Why? Because they're seeds. And those seeds are going to grow some other things in you that you don't even know that are in you. And there are great things that are in you. And that's so very, very important. Number nine, the gleaning process shows us how to be grounded. Now, of course, we can be grounded to the ground, right? We can be connected to the field. We can be connected to the crops. So that's one way to be grounded. But for me, when I say grounded in terms of your seed is in your need, humility. It keeps you humble. It doesn't have you have this high-mindedness about yourself and about who you are and about what you do and about what you have and about what you're trying to do and about who you're connected to. No, you're well-grounded. And that's one of the reasons. So when people call me to do my keynotes and my trainings and I do presentations, one of the things that keeps me grounded is I talk about my childhood, right? I talk about not knowing who my biological father is. I talk about and show pictures of my grandmother, and I talk about the house that I was raised in. And I just talk about all of those things because it keeps me grounded, right? It keeps me grounded and relatable to people. And I think for Ruth, as Ruth was having this success, and Ruth was, she had access to provision and being connected with Boaz. You know one thing that kept Ruth grounded? She would always go back to her mother-in-law, and she would tell her mother-in-law how things are going. And she would say, this is what's happening right now. What do you think I should do? You see, that's one of the biggest tests for us to know whether or not we're still grounded. When we get to a place in life and no one can tell us anything, no one can give us advice, no one can give us insight, it's all about what we think and what we know, and it's all about us, we're not grounded. We're not grounded. But your needs will tell you that you need to be humble, you need to be grounded, you need to be relatable. Your needs will tell you that. Why? Because there are seeds in your need. That was number 9. And then, of course, last but not least, optimism. Gleaners hold the hope of finding something valuable even after the main harvest. You know what? One thing that I learned as a leader, as a trainer, coach, in the work that I do, I have to be very, very optimistic. I have to help people to see beyond what they currently see. And even if you're gleaning, you can't go out there and say, well, there's not much in this field today. Because today is just a season. And so if you're your needs are telling you there's always hope. And if you're going to be a great gleaner, if you're going to be someone who can be positive and be optimistic for people and not deny the reality, no, that's not what we're talking about. But we're talking about embracing where we are and still focusing on where we're trying to go. And so that's what encourages me about this story about Ruth. I mean, she was just so committed. You know, she was resourceful. She had great initiative. She had persistence. She showed empathy. She had a vision. She was adaptable. She was collaborative. She had a sustainability mindset. She was grounded. And last but not least, she was optimistic. That's what we all need today. Listen, I know a lot of things are happening in this world today. There's a lot of things happening that we can't control. There are election seasons coming up. You've had election seasons where you live. Maybe some of your candidates won and maybe some of your candidates didn't. But you know what? It's really not about all of that. It's about focusing on your needs, and not just your needs, but the needs of the people who are around you. I want to encourage you today that's watching this video. I want you to take a time out. I want you to take a pause. I want you to stop thinking about yourself right now. I want you to look around and start thinking about people who are in need and what seeds are in their needs, and see if you can help them to see the seeds that are in their current needs. You see, that's the work that I do. I work with a lot of organizations and a lot of clients who are stuck, who are struggling, who are trying to get back into this collaborative effort from having to work virtually and having to now get back in person, and all of a sudden they back in this rat race to where everything just seems like it's out of control and there's a lot of uncertainty, and people just don't know what to do. And you know, one of the biggest things that I love helping people to do, helping them to just take a step back, reclaim their power, and to respond appropriately to the situations and to people that they're faced with, because that's the only thing they can control. And then last but not least, to chart a vision and a path for the future, and to be really strategic about what we're going to do and how we're going to win and how we're going to work in our field and how we're going to use what we have to serve people. That's the work that I do. And I'm just like Ruth. I know I'm in my right field. And I know I have the right skill set, and I know I have the right tools, and I know that God has given me the right provision for me to do exactly what I'm doing. And so that's what I want to help you to do today. That's why I'm doing these videos. I want you to be in your right field. I want you to have what you need in your right field. And I want you to continue to do what you need to do in your right field. Why? Because it's designed exactly for you. So the next time that you think about all of the needs that you have in your life, I want you to just reflect back on this video, and I want you to identify those 10 seeds that are in your needs. So listen, if this video has been a blessing to you, like it, share it, comment on it. I would love to know what you think. And more importantly, share it with someone who may be stuck. Right? They're in a field and they just don't know, and they just focus on what they need. They're not focused on what they currently have. They're not focused on their gifts, skills, and talents. But share it with them. And as always, I always appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. See you soon. Cool. Man, that was